Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CrimeBloc Game Dev Talk podcast, episode 3. It's the end of the round. We've got 5 days to the end of the round, Ian?
Wow, yeah, pretty much. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5.
Oh, exciting times, exciting times. I'm going to pull up the notes too, because for some reason I didn't think that far ahead. But do you want to get started on the first note, Ian?
Sure. Well, we're resetting the game, which is the first time in I think the last one was 6 months ago or so.
Okay, so it's been a long round. It's been in the grand scheme of things. Or like pretty average. Yeah.
It has. And it's been quite an interesting round, to say the least. I mean, a lot of events have happened.
Yeah.
A lot of people doing questionable things. So a lot of our time this round was on kind of revolving around the anti-cheat and cutting down on the amount of people that were cheating. And it's been working out pretty well.
Yep.
Our tools are definitely getting better.
Yeah, we have a lot of tools. Like so much information now compared to like previous years where I was like, I need more tools. But thankfully, we're starting to get them, aren't we? And it's kind of changing how we admin things.
Yeah, and it's definitely setting us up well for next gen. We've been able to focus kind of on what things to look out for, different ways of catching various cheaters. And we're still banning a few people here and there every week. Multiple on some days. Especially during a chaos period. It's only been going on a couple of days, but we've noticed an increase.
Yeah, people just kind of rolling with the fact that it's chaos. They're just going to cause more chaos themselves.
Yeah, and it's kind of good in a way. It gives us way more data to kind of feed back into our tools.
Yeah.
So that next round should be a lot more fair.
So moving on to the round changes, what do we have in store for the players of CrimeBloc?
Well, normally we have quite a big patch list, but this round is going to be a little bit smaller. The reason for that is because most of our energy and time is being spent on next gen, which we'll cover a little bit later. But the round changes that are going to happen, we're going to remove Google Capture, the current one that we have. We're going to implement a new one, which will be a lot easier for users to use. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some meta changes and the way bullets work. What we've noticed this round, regardless of the events that have happened that were very overpowered, one of the problems I'm seeing more and more is it's really quite expensive to shoot. And with that, we kind of want to make it a little bit easier. Not to the point where you're going to get wiped every day. But if we look at kind of the cost of bullets, or credits to bullets rather, it's quite high. And it's not really fair on those that don't want to spend a huge amount of money in game. So we're going to be reducing kind of the cost of the bullets. We're going to be reworking a little bit how the formula works as well. We're still finalizing a few elements of that.
Should be interesting though. We might see more like crew wipes where they're actually happening like in real time rather than like we've had a couple of crew wipes this round, and they've been like one person gets shot and then it's like 20 minutes later the next person gets shot, and it's so much nicer to see like a crew wipe where it happens instantaneously because like it has to for it to work. And
yeah,
so we're hoping we kind of bring back that kind of method of gameplay again, where you're thinking and you're planning with your crewmates on wiping, and you're using everyone's bullets across the board rather than just popping people one by one and hoping for the best.
Yeah, and we're also going to be looking into how protection works with murder as well, because at the moment, there's not enough difference in the levels of protection. Like, they don't offer so much, even if you buy kind of the credit options. A lot of people, especially this round, with the amount of bullets that have been in game, they've found it quite worthless. So we're going to be looking at kind of increasing how effective protection actually is.
That's good. I think it is time for a protection change, you know, because most people actually, no, I can't say certain things on like how much protection people have and stuff like that, because then it'll skew player base's views. But no, I think changing up protection can lead to some interesting things.
Yeah, it will definitely be worth having protection next round. We're also going to be kind of decreasing the amount of bullets that you get from cars, because it went through a phase where you didn't get many, and then you got a lot. And then it got decreased again. However, with the kind of formula changes and how we're wanting to make it a little bit easier, we also need to take into account that there should be less bullets gained from smelting cars. So that's another little change that will happen. Yeah, even less bullets from Cars Anonymous. But it's kind of related to how many bullets will be needed to kill. So while it is less, you're going to be needing less for shooting anyway.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't make that much of a difference. It's just you won't need to be shooting like 150,000 bullets or whatever.
Yeah, because it got to a ridiculous amount. Like, I feel like every round we were like, oh, let's make it harder to kill. Let's make it harder to kill.
Yeah, and that was kind of without taking into account a lot of different things. I mean, the highest difference we have is the highest bullet count kill would be 1.7 million. And that's if you're shooting from Loner to Pat Supreme, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, a lot of people are kind of shooting the same ranks, so they're quite similar. We just modified kind of the difference. So we weren't getting people just signing up, getting a load of bullets filtered to them, and then wiping out a bunch of people that had actually put time into their accounts.
Yeah. We've got casino bidding for civilians. So now, obviously, civilians have their own city that they can like gamble in, and so on and so forth. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah. So one of the things that we kind of didn't really know how to approach was how casinos work and properties work with civilians, and it was definitely kind of an afterthought. Because we wanted to get the class out there and tested and made sure it works, especially in time for the next round. But the idea behind casino bidding, and whether this will come in right at the reset, I'm not sure, but it will come in shortly after. The civilians will be able to blind bid for properties. So, for example, if they want the roulette, they'll be able to put in a bid. The highest bid at the end of the week will actually get
the property.
Get the property, yeah.
Yeah, and you can bid in credits and or cash, correct?
That's not finalized yet.
Okay, sorry.
It will definitely be cash at first.
Yeah.
But credits is probably one of the ones that we want to go to, but it'll be more. It's very hard to kind of equate what one credit is, because throughout the round it always fluctuates. I was going to say at the moment it's X amount, but we're in chaos mode, so it's different. But we're seeing prices up to like 3.5 million per credit, which is just far too much in my opinion. Which also means the economy is kind of out of whack. So maybe we need to look at toning some things down. But we don't want to mess too much with the game in the state that it's in at the moment. It's definitely things to kind of look for in next gen and kind of make sure that the economy is good and it doesn't grow too fast, and there's not massive inflation.
Yeah. Speaking of next gen, in TAS, we're making a beautiful trailer, which is just going to involve Ian walking down the street, fog everywhere, and then it'll be really dramatic, and no one know what's happening. But no, so jokes aside, trailer will be coming, and it'll be exciting.
Yes, it will. It's going to be quite different.
Yeah.
So I think there's only a few more changes that we're doing next round. One which some people will be excited for. We'll get to that in a moment. But D2A will only be available once per account, and only for the account attached to the email address that it's registered in. This is because people really go out of their way to find different kind of exploits. And while this isn't exactly an exploit, it's just abuse of a feature that was non-intended. Some people would register an account, they'd rank it up, they'd get shot, they'd rank up another account, they'd get shot, and then they'd use both D2As on a single account. So it gives them a massive boost. And this is why, kind of earlier, some people were ranking really fast. That was not intended, but it's also one of those things that I didn't really want to change mid-round because people had already taken advantage of it. So I kind of left it in there so that everyone had a level playing field, so to speak.
Yeah. We have a question from G_E. Are there any plans to bring back crew bullets? Because you used to be able to stock bullets in your crew if your crew was holding a bullet factory.
We took that out because of the amount of bullets that were getting into the game through that, and it made it so.
It made crews too powerful, didn't it?
It did, and they were basically allowed to take out the competition very easily. And with the smaller player base, it was very counterintuitive to give an already powerful crew more power. So while crew bullets from the bullet factory won't most likely come back, I have been toying with the idea of having a bullet bank in crews so that you can actually wipe effectively. That way, because like a lot of people died with bullets on hand. I think the most somebody died with was like 250,000 bullets or something. It was crazy.
They were planning something for sure.
Yeah. They were planning quite a few kills. But if we have the crew bullet bank, then it allows you to kind of spread out your bullets. It keeps them a little bit more safer, and it allows more people to take part in the shooting. So those that don't have time to stock can still take part in the fight.
Cool. I think coming up next, we have something that I want to say the player base have been asking for.
Hang on, let's do the other three first.
The other three? Okay,
Yeah, and then we'll come back to that one. We'll leave that one for last.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. The PvP / civilian class landing page will change, so it'll be much more clear. It'll when you sign up and you know the current page that you have to select your class. We're basically redesigning that so it's a lot easier to navigate because as we add more classes, it gets a little bit more full. So the first question you'll be asked is, do you want to take part in PvP? If the answer is no, you'll get set as a civilian. And if you say yes, you'll then get the choice of the other classes.
This just allows us to streamline the experience for new players who come in so that they can understand the game. Kind of, I don't want to say spoon-fed, but like they understand like the roles that they're taking on if they do select a PvP role.
Yeah, because it's not very clear right now.
Yeah.
We also want to make it so there's kind of, it's just an easier process. And we also want to make it more clear that you're allowed 2 accounts, you're allowed 1 civilian account, and you're allowed 1 PvP account as well.
Yeah.
One of the ideas was actually to have accounts and then allow you to create characters under that account, so you'd only need 1 login. But given how the game is built and how old it is, it's a lot of work to actually get that done. It's something we have done in next gen.
Yeah.
So
we
you'll be able
rather
to-
put
you'll
the
be-
time into next gen with like stuff like that, where it's not going to add a lot. It's more like a quality of life at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, and you'll be able to have multiple characters and do it in different classes, whether it's civilian or well, we're getting rid of classes in next gen, but you'll be able to kind of stat your character differently.
Yeah.
The Civ crews and normal crews will be separated visually on the crews page, so it'll be a lot
I
easier
had
to
a few
see.
people asking me like, "Oh, hey, how come like civilian crews are using up the crew slots when they weren't?" It was just like visually,
Yeah.
it looked like they were when they weren't.
Yeah, that needs to be a little more clarified.
Yeah, I don't know where we are on the list because obviously we skipped some things. So
It's fine.
I'll
I've
let
got the
you
list.
lead. Yeah.
Item balances. Crimes are having a little bit of a tweak in the next round. We've noticed a lot of people have a ton of items and they don't get used, and nobody ever sells them, or a few people sell them, and it's just so pointless.
And
So we're gonna be
that's sold to the game, isn't it? Not like other players,
Yeah.
just so we're clear. Yeah.
So we're going to be kind of reducing the amount of items that you get through crimes, especially for the first few crimes. I mean, they have like 30-second wait time is it for the first crime?
Yeah, people just
can't
end
quite
up with
remember.
a ton of bolt cutters and balaclavas. Enough to
And
like
laptops,
give an
yeah.
army.
Yeah.
We have played with the idea of like making like rare drop tables for like, better robberies and stuff, but I think that is something like way in the future, probably next gen type thing.
Yeah, next gen, we're going to do a lot of different things with items, which we're also going to cover in a bit.
Yeah, sorry.
There's going to be a few operation changes, mainly XP. So currently, weirdly, operations don't actually give XP, though in the code they are meant to give XP. So that's kind of a long-running bug for as long as I can remember. So operations are actually going to give a chunk of XP, so it's going to be well worth kind of redoing them. Again, a lot of people were doing them just to get years off. And then they'd kind of just stop doing them because it was a lot of effort for literally no reward. So
you get
operations
bullets,
will give.
which I think maybe with like the bullet change that we're bringing in, the bullets are going to now be worth more from the operations because that could equate to like an early kill in the game.
Yeah, could do. But the XP boost is mainly as a payoff. I know for some of them you actually do actions. So, for example,
there's two that do OCs.
There's one that does the crimes.
Yeah,
and it's like
robbery.
The original kind of thought behind that was like, oh yeah, well they already get XP from it, so why do they need more? But now we've come to realize that actually you should just get a chunk of XP for actually completing it all.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'll get to your questions in a sec.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is counterfeiting.
Ooh.
So that's coming back.
It's been requested over and over again, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. But before, it was a giant money printer. So you could have six buildings in each city, and when there was 6 cities, that's 6 times 6. That's like a lot of buildings, and you're basically being able to generate like hundreds of millions per day. So yeah, we've had to tone that back quite a lot. We've done some math behind it. Hopefully not destroy the economy when this releases.
It can always be nerfed, because the thing is, with a thing like this, if it gets nerfed for one person, it gets nerfed for everyone. So
yeah, but we also don't want it where a bunch of people have counterfeiting places, and then they get to take advantage of having like a lot of extra cash, and then it gets nerfed, and the people that hadn't caught up to that yet can't kind of take advantage of it. So they'd lose out quite a bit. But yeah, counterfeiting will be there at launch. It's not going to be behind any class. It's going to be pretty expensive to get going, but it will give you cash every day. Halfway through the round, we might make some changes to it. It currently doesn't D2A, so you won't be able to recover your factories when you die. However, it's kind of something that I'm thinking about allowing, because if you think about it realistically, So like if you die, then you can still get into the buildings, right?
Yeah, the buildings don't die with you.
Yeah. So maybe a couple of months into the round, we'll actually get around to that. So
we'll see. We're going to see how the economy is affected by it first, because obviously, if you can D2A every single time, then it's just going to hurt the economy over and over and over again.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. But it's also kind of a lot of work to actually get all the factories built. So each factory requires 12 hours, I believe, to build, like to construct. And then each upgrade after that is like 12 hours or a day. So each factory requires 3 days, and you can do them all simultaneously. So you could travel, build, upgrade, and you could have everything done in 3 days, assuming you have the initial capital. So we've changed how much money you'll get from it per day, and we've also changed how much it actually costs to get going. And we may end up tweaking those values at some point. But I think that's it for kind of legacy. I know it's not a huge amount of changes. There's going to be a few bug fixes here and there too. But they're kind of the main standout points. And a full patch log will be released on the 29th, I believe. It'll be the day before the patch actually goes.
Shall we answer a couple of questions before we move on to the next gen?
Yeah. Baseball shortage. Well, I'm very sorry. We'll look into baseball. We'll look into all the items and see how kind of frequent they pop up. Look at the odds of dropping. So you might even see some small increases in certain items. But we kind of want to reduce the amount of first level items that you get. Will bodyguards remain? And if so, will they still damage health so dramatically? Bodyguards will remain, yes. The reason why they were brought in, I think we covered this last episode, was basically because the amount of people that were shooting, and it was just kind of getting out of hand. We do want to keep them. And will they still damage health so dramatically? Yes. When we bring the crew bullet bank, it will basically be, it will allow you to share bullets through other people. So even if one person kind of gets damaged by a lot, you still have other people that can shoot. So it will have much less of an impact, I believe, if crews actually work together and want to wipe another crew. For solo players, it'll still be a little bit in the negative. Will you fix the Audi operation exploit? What exploit is this?
I assume this is because obviously when you're on the operation, there's a little bump in chances of getting an Aldi.
Yeah, there's a cap. If you yeah, it's a huge bump, because before that bump was put in, I believe I put it in.
It was painful.
It took forever.
Yeah.
Like people would be on it for weeks, and they wouldn't be able to get through it.
And the only way they could do it was you could obviously buy cars from other people, but with the player base, with the numbers that it's currently at, it makes that very, very hard.
Yeah, nobody sells cars unless it's really expensive, unless you want to pay several million for a Vaz.
I love that Vaz.
I'm just looking up. There was a limit. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you'd have a much bigger chance to get the Audi, but there is a limit of how many you can get. So even if you do that operation, I believe the limit is 6, 7. So you can get up to 7 Audis, which may need decreasing. We shall see.
Yeah, because you can buy 2 from Andrea or something.
Yeah. But it's not so much an exploit, it's kind of, you stole hundreds.
Hacking. He's hacking.
Everyone doesn't Really? Okay, well, maybe we need to look into this. But as far as I'm aware, you can't get more than 6 or 7 from that operation.
Hmm.
Well,
Interesting. We'll have to look into that.
interesting. I will put a note on that.
So there's Anonymous said, so another feature incentivizing long living accounts, right? There's quite a few people who basically live from protection period to protection period. They never get to take advantage of the class system as it is. And counterfeiting is going to add further add to that, assuming counterfeiting won't D2A. This is obviously about counterfeiting, and I don't like with how much it pays out. Like, yes, the longer you're alive, the more profits that you're gonna get back. But with how much we're decreasing the bullet count, I can't see a lot of people having long-term accounts how it was last round, where there was essentially just like 2 crews like dominating the game constantly. So we're trying to avoid that and basically have like a constant rotation of players where people are shooting or they don't shoot. You know, maybe everyone's friendly this round. They're all just
That's
getting
never
along.
going to happen.
No.
We do kind of want to incentivize kind of longer living accounts. I mean, there's a lot of people that kind of want to just play peacefully, right? And even take part in kind of the player-owned casinos outside of the civ class.
Counterfeiting's going to be there for civilians as well, too. I assume, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on to next gen?
Yes. So, next gen is having an interesting time. It's been a really good month for making progress on things. We've now done the help desk, which is so much better than what it currently is. For those that have used the help desk, it's terrible, and it's very hard to actually have a conversation because every ticket is kind of a new ticket. Like every reply creates a new ticket, sort of thing. It's very weird. So if you need help in next gen, you'll be able to open a ticket and you'll be able to have an actual kind of conversation with the game staff, and it will be kind of all in order.
It's also nice from our side, let's be honest. Like, that is a lifesaver.
Yeah. And somebody mentioned they want to be able to attach kind of images. We haven't done that yet.
I think Mike wanted that. He's in the audience right now.
Yeah. But we are wanting to kind of add that feature to the help desk, but it might just come a little bit later. Snuggling, also known as smuggling.
I was going to point that out, your notes. Yeah.
The smuggling has been done. We've got all the images, we've got all the prices, we've got that all working. And that was kind of a joint feature with inventory because it shares quite a few similar things. So we've also finished up the inventory, and you can buy and sell things. We've also made it so there's going to be a lot more items in next gen. Like as we progress, as we add new operations, as we add new features, we're not going to just be sticking with the 15 items or so that we have now. There's going to be a lot of different ones. There's going to be, as Tom mentioned earlier, kind of the rare loot pools. So when you commit a crime, you'll basically, it will randomize what kind of tier of item you get. Think of it as like tier 1, 2, and 3, where 3 is a laptop, and tier 1 is like a vault cutter, a vault burner.
Yeah, I think we changed the name on that one, didn't we, to burner, because cutter doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the final names are.
Yeah.
But with that, we also have been working on OC, and I think a lot of you are going to enjoy the new OCs. There's going to be a lot more kind of meta chasing, I guess.
Yeah, less like just like opening up an OC and clicking by best, because that's how it currently is.
Yeah, that's kind of going to be disappearing. So you'll be able to essentially choose what OC you want to do, whether it's kidnap, diamond heist, or smuggle. But that's pretty much as far as the defined choices are. Yeah. Everything else is kind of up to you. Even down to what positions are in the OC. So at the moment you have generally the driver, the weapons expert, the leader, and
negotiator.
Yeah. And they're very defined, and you can only select some items. But with next gen, you'll actually be able to use the items that are in your inventory. And not only that, the leader will be able to choose what positions they want for the OC. Do they want one driver? Do they want two drivers? Do they want a weapons expert? Do they want a dedicated person for, whatever?
Like Overwatch.
There's going to be a lot more Overwatch. There's going to be a lot more fluidity in choice. And with that, you'll also be able to choose kind of what items you want to bring along. For example, if you're smuggling, you might want to bring a crate, like a box or something. You might want to bring in a bigger car, or you might want to bring two drivers so you can actually get more loot across.
And would the weather in the game kind of affect these things, or like? So imagine it's snowing and you're like, oh well, we need to bring like an SUV.
Yeah. Weather will definitely impact it to a degree. At the moment, there's only a very small chance of failing an OC. We want to kind of
in Legacy.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen someone fail an OC. I'll be honest.
There is a way. I think it's just a very small chance, and it's basically if you use the worst of everything and you get the bio wrong, and it's a very
that's
small
only for
chance.
DLCs, though. Yeah.
But with next gen, it'll be you'll have a complete choice. You'll be able to select any car that's in your garage. You'll be able to select any item that's in your inventory. And if you leave the OC, you'll still kind of lose your items because you've already committed them. So like chains for tires in snow. Potentially. Yeah. I haven't gone into the great details. We're kind of still working on the overarching customization.
I do like the idea of like additions, if that makes sense. That is a good shout. But that'd be like a later down the road thing.
Yeah, we just found that OCs right now are pretty boring. Like, you start it, really, you select your buyer, you select the weapons. It's just so linear. It's not a great experience. We really want people to kind of explore different combinations of things, like what could work, what doesn't. Do we want to fly to Moscow when it's snowing? In which case, maybe we need to change items there. Or, we really want to give you more flexibility in how it works.
Certain stuff?
Yeah. It's going to be fun. Like, it's really fun building it. Like, understanding kind of how we are with Legacy and understanding kind of when next gen is going to be. There's still a whole ton of work. We're still aiming for a release later this year. You could fail an OC. For example, if you took 4 drivers, you'd probably fail because you've got no weapons expert. You've got no.
It's just the Italian job.
To open the vault. Yeah. It's like the Italian job. In fact, maybe that's an Easter egg. If you have 4 drivers, you pull off the Italian job. That could be interesting. But yeah, we still want to get it out this year. And if it means kind of cutting back on a few features, then we'll probably do that. But the most important thing is we just have a fresh base to work from. It's no longer
Band-Aid patching on top wounds. Of Band-Aid,
yeah. It will no longer be that. So actually getting new features done, tested and out the door will be a lot faster. The patches we'll bring out will be more influential. There'll be less, I hope, bug fixes and more feature implementations or balances. It's an exciting time, and every time I work on it, I just feel like we're getting a little bit closer. So bear with us. We realize it's been a while, and you've been promised this for
nearly a decade,
a long time. Yeah. But it is definitely happening.
But they weren't our promises; they were someone else's promises. We're the ones delivering.
I mean, when I first worked under Mark, I very much wanted to do it. I just couldn't. But yeah, now it's definitely happening. We've been working on this for probably a year. I think we've written 150 to 200,000 lines of code for it.
And then when we do like release it, we will be having like social media like giveaways and stuff to help like boost the social media front for the new game, because something that I've tried to explain in the past to players is that currently, yes, there's not a lot of social media posts going out, but that's purely because we don't really want people playing Legacy. We want people on next gen, so we'd rather put the energy into advertising next gen once it's out. Sorry, I went on a little rant there, I realized.
Oh, that's all good. I mean, Legacy was relaunched purely because people wanted to play it, right? Yeah. There was no intention of supporting it as much as we have or introducing so many different features. That's just kind of the way that it fell. But especially over the next round, there's going to be less features kind of introduced midway. Obviously, there'll still be the bug fixes and things, but all of our energy is really going into making this potentially the last round of Legacy.
Oh, I just remembered, in Legacy for next round, the rules are going to update. It's worth mentioning this.
Yeah.
They're got less gray areas, because right now there's a lot of gray areas, and it's very easy to upset the player base with those gray areas, and it puts Ian and myself in a hard position when we have to make a ruling on those gray areas, and we can't remember what ruling we made like maybe 2 years ago with a similar gray area. So the idea for the new rules is less gray areas, more understanding where people know, and then the rollover of credits will also be on there because that was a request. So there's no like smoke and mirrors and expectations from the player base either.
Yeah, we found like people still reference certain events happening, and they're like, "Oh, this has always happened," and it may have done under different kind of ownership or leadership, but we're not them. So we have our own ideas and our own kind of
like methods of implementing them. Like we want what's best for the community. Anything that comes out of that is great. But as much as there's a lot of people within the community who often think that we're not doing great, and putting the community first, we are, and that is all we ever like. Okay, what can we do to like help them? What's the quality of life change, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and we've always listened to the community as much as we can. If you have sensible suggestions, we still take things in the suggestion box. We still implement those ideas if they get enough kind of thumbs up.
And we have these talks, these podcasts, so we can be transparent and have that connection with you guys. You got a couple of questions,
what do you mean? What's your name? GE? GE. Still a cap on Steel Factory. What do you mean? G. Okay.
Is it how much you can sell steel for? Yeah, we added a cap to the Steel Factory because there was a crew who decided to put it at like 10 mil per unit. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, a lot of these things are kind of annoying to deal with. It's like, yeah, people purposefully do things, and we will react to them. We're I don't know how much I can say, but yeah, we do react to various events that happen and make sure that it's not ridiculous and people aren't hoarding cash. I mean, there are kind of incentives. It's money.
Okay, so I think what they're asking more is like, can we raise the cap? So like, I don't see a world where we get rid of the cap and we make it unlimited again, because it just gets ridiculous. But maybe there is a world where we raise the cap a little bit, see how it goes from there. Because Steel Factory should be one of the most important properties in the game to get, but it shouldn't be ridiculously OP because you can just set it at like a stupid amount.
I think Steel Factory is one of the features I've used the least.
Yeah.
It's basically built on everything that's about to break. So I really hate touching it. We can look at raising the cap. And then, yeah, ideally, if you have a ridiculous price, another crew would just shoot you for it. Because, yeah, that's how it should work.
Yeah. Shall we finish off with the last? Oh wait, did it?
There is no last.
Okay, I didn't realize that the last two were like the same one.
Yeah, no, we're just doing kind of Q&A.
Q&A. Oh yeah, sorry, I missed this part. Anonymous. So March 1st, 0 midnight, round open, and credits are available from the get-go.
Okay, so the timings have not been released, and they won't be released.
Okay, but I guess
until
is he
near
asking,
the time.
Will credits release when the game opens, or is it going to be like a time delay, how it has been in the past, where it's been like credits release a week after the game starts?
No, I think credits will be released kind of as soon as the game opens. I don't see any reason why not to. I realize some people may stack quite a few bullets, and kudos to them, I guess.
Yeah.
Murder is not up right away. Murder will come, I believe it's on the 15th is the date I said.
Yeah.
So for clarity, Chaos Mode started, and it will go on until the 29th. On the 29th of February, we will close the game. We'll do a little bit of maintenance, and then we'll be back up the next day on the 1st of March. The patch notes for the new round will be released on the evening of the 29th, or kind of morning of March the 1st of March, depending on your time zone. The 1st of March will most likely be releasing around 6 p.m. GMT. The new round will open, properties will be available from day one, along with credits. And then on the 15th of March, Murder will open. So there'll be a 15-day window to get everything sorted. Any idea how long this round will last? You want my honest opinion? I hope it lasts until we can launch next gen. But that's it. This could be the last round. There might be one more round in between. It depends kind of how the beta goes, and how much needs to kind of get fixed in between things.
Yeah.
So we don't want to give a complete release date for next gen until it's completely done. We're basically saying end of summer, autumn, winter, kind of the area, because we don't want to let people down at the end of the day. When we have the game completed, when we have had our beta test, when we have invited people to that and they've played, and that's gone on for a month, then we will come up with a release date that will be set in stone, because at that point, everything will be finished. We don't want to give it before, because we'll just end up delaying it and delaying it and delaying it, and that's just not fair on anybody. And it puts more pressure on us. It lets you guys down. It's just a no-win situation. Cash for credit button staying, or is that part of the chaos period? That's part of the chaos period. Civilians do have access to it all the time. So if they buy credits, they can turn that into cash. But as far as keeping it in for PvP players, we're not sure. Yeah, we haven't given that any thought, really. If it's a requested feature, then sure.
It would have to change with the economy, though, wouldn't it?
No, I just think we'd give like a lot less money for a credit.
Oh, okay.
And then if they want more money, you'd sell it on the marketplace, right? If you want millions for a credit, put it on the marketplace. But if you want 100,000, 150,000,
quick cash fast.
yeah, but you also pay. It's basically really heavily taxed. Yeah, marketplace or quick cash, basically, and it will be completely underpriced. So the marketplace will still be there, and that will still be the primary way of kind of dealing with credits. But if you want to get rid of them fast, then yeah, maybe it's worth having.
Yeah, like I can see, like, if we did bring it in, then we wouldn't have it immediately available, because then, yeah, like, as you're saying here, Anonymous, the properties at the beginning would just be bought out by the people who do a credit conversion.
True. But in the grand scheme of things, you do like one OC and you already have a property, and then you kind of
Yeah, but like it takes so long to get that first OC.
True.
It used to be
But
like
then,
2 or 3 days before the first OC happened.
Yeah, but now it's like 12 hours.
Yeah. But that was down to like the dailies and then plus the login reward. So
yeah, which is why we nerfed them at the start of the round, and then after a month or so, we'll bring it back up. 4 days.
All right. Well, I think it's time to get wrapping up. It's been a good 50 minutes. It was meant to be a short one.
So if you have any questions, kind of write them now, and we'll wait for a couple of minutes, and we'll get around to them. You did bring something interesting up, actually. Because if credits are released, then people can just consistently reset their OCs and stuff.
Yeah.
So
maybe we do need a timer on that, or we just block people from doing certain actions with credits early on.
Yeah, I mean, we could still allow credits to be purchased, and then they just can't use them in the store until all the features are open.
Yeah.
But more news on that will be brought to you on the 29th. We're not going to promise anything. We're only saying what's in our head at the moment. But we still have plenty of time to figure that out. If Mono is released on the 15th, credits should be a couple of days before. Yeah. Do you mean credits, like actually buying credits, or kind of the credit store? Like being able to use the credits?
To buy them. It's something that we're like ongoing talks with, and obviously we will take your feedback into like consideration with this.
Yeah, we haven't really ever had a consistent way of resetting the round. Every round, something has changed. Like one round, we basically held all the properties and we dropped them randomly, which really killed kind of the race for the properties. Sometimes we wait a week for murder, 2 weeks for murder. Yeah, it's always different. Because every time we change something, other things happen, unexpected things happen. So we haven't really found a good kind of middle ground as to be like, okay, this is the exact definition of a reset. It's always kind of a little bit different. Yeah, we want people to work together in crews. Unfortunately, this round was a little bit of a letdown in that regard. People didn't. And, that's down to us, really, more than you guys. Well, definitely down to us. It's been a messy round. We've learned a lot, but would rather not have a round like last round again.
Yeah, for sure.
Or rather this round. It's unfortunate. Hindsight is always 2020. You can always point out the mistakes afterwards, and you can always say, "Ah, that's where it went wrong. That's where it went wrong." Yeah, that's it. That's hindsight for you. We just got to learn and make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes.
All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap up this. I'm gonna go get some dinner. Making some salmon tonight.
Again,
yeah.
you had it the other night.
No, I prepped it the other night. Yeah. Are you happy to finish off there, Ian?
Oh, yeah. I think I've pretty much said everything that I want to say in regards to kind of the reset, how this round's gone, next gen. So.
Cool. We'll be having one of these in March, obviously. March is going to be a busy month for me, but I want to say around the 20th be good. That way we can reflect on how the beginning of the round's gone, and so on and so forth.
Oh, yeah, because we're away.
Like every weekend there's something going on.
Yeah. So it'll have to be 19th to the 21st or 26th to the 28th. But we'll get back to you on a date. We'll give you plenty of heads up.
Yeah, unlike this one. Apologies for the rushed announcement on this one. We were meant to say like earlier on the week, and I think the week just got the best of the both of us.
Yeah, but we also didn't want to miss out on this month because obviously there's a fair few things to talk about, and yeah, it would be pretty sucky if we got 2 episodes in and it's like, hang on, we missed a month. But no, we'll announce the date a week or 2 before once we know what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for coming, and have a lovely night.
Yep. Have a great night. Thank you again for playing. We hope you enjoyed this round as far as you can. And we look forward to seeing you in the next round.
Okay.